Pence, and people put their own weight on his role as vice president. Obviously, January 6th was unique, but there's no conservative lane because the best accomplished chief executive conservative is DeSantis. It's why I'm there. And so it doesn't leave much room. As you were saying earlier, Chris, there's no lane here. And I like and respect Vice President Pence. Obviously, I just acknowledged what Marc said. He's been a consistent conservative, but he's not the most accomplished conservative in this race, and he doesn't have the best chance to win the nomination or beat Joe Biden. That's with DeSantis. So hopefully we'll end up with Scotty's support at the end of this. But I do appreciate what Vice President Pence always has to say. He's always worth listening to. So, I think it's a credit to you all to have him here on kind of on a TV pedestal like you all offer.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think it's a gift to Mike Pence what NewsNation is doing for him, especially with what we understand about the composition of our audience. And Scotty, on one level, you and I may have discussed this before, he has the most yet to be understood about him. People have so many questions about Mike Pence and what was going through his mind and his head and his heart as he had to stand by so much of what he says he rejects to his core. And on paper, he really could be the best chance for knitting together what you guys want to be at your best and what you had to deal with at your worst.
Well, with all due respect, especially to my colleagues that are on this panel today, the only chance that Mike Pence is going to see any sort of bump in his popularity is if he goes on this amazing opportunity of a platform tonight and says, I withdraw from the race because I believe in putting our country above my party, and I believe in actually here are the principles that I believe in, and I want to unite the Republican Party. Sort of what Mitt Romney is doing, but actually make it legit. The realistic for Mike Pence, for people to be confused about Mike Pence, that speaks volumes. If he's been a consistent conservative, there should be no confusion. Why people are confused? Because in 2016, he was the Pepto-Bismol to the Trump ticket. He was going to calm down all of those Ted Cruz supporters, get them on board. And now in 2024, he's the establishment candidate. That shows where the confusion is. How could you be someone that did have a solid conservative track record going into 2016, but in 2024, you're seen as a moderate establishment neocon? That's the confusion. I think that's why you're seeing such low poll numbers for former Vice President Mike Pence.
Well, you got other reasons also, right, Marc? And I'll take this point to you that, one, you got Trump, who's a prohibitive favorite and sucking up a lot of the oxygen. And two, you've got a lot of people in the field. But I do think that you have to look at the Ramaswamy effect on this. Yes, he's courting the Trumpers. But, Marc, the idea of being an outsider, being a disruptor, that's very important to your party right now. And I think it's a big reason for Ramaswamy, other than kissing up to Trump, that he gets a little bit of traction. Pence can't offer being an outsider. Hey, DeSantis can't offer being an outsider. I think that's part of the effect of his middling performance thus far in the race as well. How does Pence deal with that?
Well, first, can I just say there's a little bit of irony in Scotty saying that Pence should put country before politics in the aftermath of January 6th. But regarding Vivek, I think that the last debate and the coverage since then has really exposed him as the tremendous fraud that he is.
Yeah, he's got
I think whether or not it's well, I mean, look, let's go through the issues. Right. Just a couple cycles ago, he's maxing out the Democrats in primaries.
Right.
He just a few cycles ago acknowledged, I actually never took the time to vote myself, but I want you to vote for me for President of the United States. Just today, he flip-flopped on his position on TikTok and now says because he had dinner with somebody, he's decided he actually embraces TikTok, whereas before he said it was polluting us and we should be banning TikTok. The guy is a walking contradiction, and he has so many contradictions where he was just a month ago, 2 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, across the board. He's proven himself to be an absolute fraud. And I think that's why, candidly, since the last debate, you've seen him exposed on both the right and the left.
Ken Cuccinelli, what do you want to hear from Mike Pence tonight? And what do you think the biggest challenge is for him with this audience?
Honestly, what I'd like to hear from Vice President Pence is him to step back a little bit from the race and look ahead based on his unusual experience to how we do bridge the divides in the GOP. I don't agree with your description of them earlier when you were talking with Chris Stirewalt, Chris, but I think Vice President Pence would have his own ideas about that. I don't think there is a realistic path forward for him in this nomination contest or in the race. But I do respect his history and his service, and I think America could benefit from, hearing an elder statesman as an elder statesman. I don't think he looked like an elder statesman during the first debate, but that would be a benefit tonight. I do think that, unlike Marc's comments on Vivek, I agree that he's correct, as I agreed with Marc earlier on some other comments, and the consistency that the vice president has had on issues, though that's easy to be confused about as you watch it go through the Trump administration, is a platform he can stand on. And as you noted, Romney took a step. Not a lot of people in the GOP are going to listen to what Romney says, but actions do speak louder than words, and he's stepping down. He's saying something about the age factor, which is very relevant in this race. And I think today is a day to see that commented on by someone else in the race, like Vice President Pence.
Aren't you
and
better
by the
off?
way, Romney was endorsed by Trump twice. So, it creates one of those additional tumultuous aspects where there's so much inconsistency by Trump as well, not just Vivek.
But look, the disconnect here is that
Vice President Pence is well positioned to comment on it.
You have the party that was supposed to be character counts about principle. That was the distinguishing characteristic for much of my life. You then became completely transactional because that's what Trump is. But Scotty, you said, I'm going to back the person who can beat Biden. Don't like 2 or 3 of the other people in the field give you a better chance of beating Biden than Trump does? That's why the Democrats want him.
Well, I don't give very much to polls, but right now Trump still is the lead, and you cannot look. And I have to agree with Ken Cuccinelli in the fact that you don't have there's not a single clear path to the presidency for Vice President Mike Pence. All that someone like Pence does right now is continue to divide the party. But here's where everybody being in is actually good, is because it's not necessarily, we've got to worry about voter engagement. The reason why Trump lost in 2020 is we didn't have the voter turnout that we saw in 2016, not only of the Republicans, but also of those independents that came out and crossed over and decided that an outsider was the win. So all of these folks, and that includes Vivek, being in the race, I welcome it because it gets that encouragement, it gets that excitement, it gets people engaged in the process.
All right. Listen, I appreciate each and all of you. Here's one thing that we know for sure. Pence is about to get the best opportunity he's had to date. He's got a story to tell, and your voters and a lot of people in this country are desperate for better. So this is his opportunity to tell things from his perspective and to give people a reason to see him as better. All right? Each and all, thank you very much. We're going to NewsNation headquarters in Chicago for the big town hall right now.